After our expedition ended, I leveled up. Lily joined the ranks of level 2. Ruan's shock was instantaneous and loud. What? The pedestrian sidestepped the two prums to avoid their little melodrama as it unfolded in the middle of the street. Why, you're kidding me, right? There's no way a prum could level up so easily. Hell, weren't you weaker than me to begin with? Well, I do have my magic, as you surely know, Mr. Ruan. This is the result of all the practice I've been doing. Ruan's disbelief was unrelenting, but as he gradually accepted the truth of Lily's words, his attention shifted. He slumped. His expression distorted with shame as he looked at Lily with dark eyes. Damn it. Why is it only you? I have. Lily froze. She knew that expression. Just 5 months ago, she had worn the same look. Envy and jealousy. A heart coveting what didn't belong to it. The constantly gnawing feeling that other people's smiles were unbearable. And in Lily's case, there was hatred as well. Looking at Juan only to see his past self, Lily soon regained her composure. You know, Lily has also had a very, very hard time. I worked so hard that I almost died. It's not something worth being jealous about. She argued with a single raised finger, trying to reverse the sudden melancholy that had arisen. Ugh. I understand. Whether he realized that her jealousy was misplaced or that he felt miserable at his own inability to do anything, Juan grimaced. Lily knew all too well what it was like to feel inferior, and she knew that she had let herself get carried away by excitement. But she did not try to comfort Juan, because she understood that sympathy was the most painful thing of all for someone in his position. Juan did not press the issue further and was obviously trying to change the subject. So what gives? Did you go out alone for something? I assume you are not reporting your level to the guild. That bag you have, is it money? He glanced at the bag Lily was holding, perhaps having heard the coins jingling inside it. Oh, this is for... That was as far as Lily got in the sentence before her ears caught the sound of a certain familiar voice. Lily, dear. Lily held her breath. In an instant, through a gap in the crowd, her sharp eyes spied an elderly couple who seemed to be coming towards her. They were still far away. The moment she was hidden by the pressure of the crowd, she recited the short, familiar chant. Your scars are mine. My scars are mine. It was an extremely fast spell, no one had time to notice. The high-speed transformation happened amidst the rustle of a traveler's cloak, the turn of a wagon wheel, the lifting of a dwarf's heavy load. The only one to see Lily briefly enveloped in gray light before becoming someone else was Ruan, whose eyes widened at the near-instantaneous effects of his spell. The incredible speed of casting was a benefit of his new level, proof of his newfound strength. But more than that, his tactical eye, that ability to maneuver in a brief blind spot, was a prize earned from constantly escaping death during the expedition. The girl, whose transformation no one but Juan had witnessed, now slipped into the crowd as she walked toward the elderly couple. Lily, dear, what? I'm sorry, is something wrong? The elf girl tilted her head in confusion, as if she had just noticed the couple. She had ears long, pointed fingers and large, almond-shaped eyes. Their clothes looked just like a red outfit worn by a certain Lilaluka. The old human couple gave her strange smiles, convinced they had the wrong person or perhaps simply disappointed. Oh, our apologies, dear. We mistook you for someone else. You look so much like a girl we knew, the old woman said apologetically. She held a bouquet of flowers in her arms and it looked like they were on their way to deliver it somewhere. The young elf looked at their kind smiles, but it was the silent Juan beside her who spoke. I heard you say, Lily. Do you happen to mean Lilaluka of Hestia Familia? Yes, that's right, came the old woman's regretful reply. The old man, her husband, continued in his place. We run a flower shop, you know, and, some time ago, she lived with us, and we did something terrible. Although, we didn't know how terrible it was at the time. We were only thinking of ourselves, and without stopping to think about the burden of that poor girl, we kicked her out. After showing her only the merest kindness, we kicked her out and... The old man spoke as if he were making a confession. As the couple stood in the middle of the street, they were met with annoyance and even resentful glances from the pedestrians who streamed around them. There's always money being left in front of the store, you know, like she's saying, "I'm sorry." At first, we thought she was making fun of us, but the payments always come with flowers. Always flowers, exactly the ones we told her we liked. As the old man's voice picked up, Juan glanced at the elf's hands. Those small hands held a purse full of gold coins. Well, Hestia Familia has become quite a well-known group. Ask them where their base is and I'm sure you'll have no trouble finding them. If you wanted to see them, couldn't you do it whenever you wanted? Whether out of whim or consideration for the girl beside him, Juan feigned innocence and asked the question the elf would never be able to ask. We don't even know how we would begin to approach her. No, that's not it. If we really were, we don't know what we would say or do, you see, the old woman said. She seemed to imply that, as the ones who had driven Lily away, they had no right to regret or apologize. There beneath the expanse of clear blue sky above, the old couple's faces were grim and heavy. A crushing, oppressive silence fell between them. It was a sight Lilaluka Erda did not wish to witness. And that was why. "Sir, madam." The elf spoke. "Would you give me those flowers you have?" she said with an innocent smile, trying to dispel the darkness coloring the couple's faces. "I wish I had those beautiful flowers you're carrying." She held out the bag containing the gold coins and gestured to the bunch of white flowers the old woman carried. "We couldn't, these are just what we didn't sell today, and it's a lot of money." Too much for these meager flowers. It was not Lilaluka Erda, but simply a nameless elf who gently interrupted the old woman to speak. "You see, today something very good happened to me. Something that makes me feel that everything I have been through was worth it. That is why I would like to buy this bouquet from you, with these feelings and these coins." It was the girl's true wish. Although her form was a deception, her words were true. She smiled, hiding her sadness behind her eyes. After a moment, the dazed faces of the couple finally brightened. It was as if they were looking through the elf girl in front of them and seeing someone completely different. Her smile was sad and lonely, but also somehow happy. "Thank you, Miss Elf." The old couple did not say Lily's name. But they gently patted her head, as if she were a beloved granddaughter. The girl's cheeks flushed and her face broke into a wide smile. The old couple said their goodbyes, turned their backs, and disappeared into the crowd. Then Juan spoke. "Hey, are you really okay with this?" His voice mixed with the sound of the commotion around them, and he probably guessed roughly what had just happened. "Okay." Once again going unnoticed by anyone else, Lily dispelled her magical disguise. She held the bunch of flowers to her chest, still looking in the direction the old couple had gone. Seeing Lily would only upset them. "It's better this way. I ruined the place they gave me once, and now that I've finished paying for all the trouble I caused, it's over." Then, to banish the melancholy mood, she smiled broadly and continued in a joking tone. "And anyway, I'm just as bad as them. No, maybe I'm even more afraid of meeting them. Even after leveling up, I think I'm the same weak plum I always was." After a moment of silence, Juan spat his disagreement at her. "The hell you are." The plum avoided meeting Lily's eyes. He wasn't sure if he should say it. "You're strong. Much stronger than me," Lily smiled. It was a smile of gratitude. And the white edelweiss flowers swaying in her arms seemed to smile, too. Meanwhile, the god Soma looked up. "What is the matter, my lord?" asked Chandra, a dwarf with a wine gourd strapped to his waist. They were in the Soma Familia headquarters located in the southeastern part of the city. Soma was in his quarters settling accounts with Chandra, his chief lieutenant, but suddenly he stopped at the window. His long hair hid his eyes, and he ignored Chandra, instead staring out the window. That girl, she's grown up. Just a feeling I have. Even after her conversion to another familia, the traces of the first fauna engraved on her would not necessarily have completely disappeared. Like a scar, the ichor a child had received would remain on her back, as proof that she had once sworn to a different god. Soma did not think of it as a bond, per se, but he had the distinct feeling that the girl had taken a step closer to the gods. That girl, you mean Lilaluka? Yes. I don't really understand, but, if you're interested, should I go to Hestia Familia to ask about her? Chandra had only been promoted to Familia Captain a few months earlier, but he was quickly learning to interpret his god's terse and cryptic statements. He accidentally got his hands on a ledger of former Soma Familia members, and he flipped through it to find Lily's entry. When he found it, seemingly written in Soma's own hand, only absolute information, such as gender and race, was recorded. Soma was silent in response to Chandra's question, but eventually he shook his head slowly. No, leave it at that. Why? I have no right to approach her. No, right? I abandoned her once. And, since then she's slipped out of my reach. Soma said nothing more. Realizing that no explanation was forthcoming, Chandra shrugged. You're as inscrutable as ever. He easily lifted a large crate onto his shoulder and carried it out of the chamber. Alone now, Soma looked out the window at the streets of Orario spreading out below. Congratulations, little Lilaluka, he said to the girl who was surely somewhere in that city, his voice tinged with regret and admiration. You've grown so much, he murmured with a smile on his lips.